Dave, I'll start with Kike. He obviously shared the news about his oblique strain, but how challenging is that just to see a guy who's just coming back and is now likely going back on the end?
It's a bummer. He's missed a lot of time and, worked hard to get back, was in great shape, added that spark that we had hoped. And then, as I know he went through with you guys, felt it a little bit yesterday, but wanted to kind of get through it and see if he can kind of make his way through it. And then it just got a little bit worse, and then we pulled the plug, and which I appreciate on his part. But I just feel bad for him because he wanted to be back with this and worked hard, like I said. So certainly we're going to IL him and give him some time to kind of get back. It's not a season-ending thing, so that's something to be hopeful with. But yeah, it's just a bummer.
You think about that potential move. Obviously, you have Max Muncy, who should be in the lineup tomorrow. But I guess what does that just kind of mean when you look at the roster for who could help support in the infield or even at third?
Well, we're going to bring back Alex Freeland. He's en route, which is a good thing, and then he can kind of fill that infield role, that utility role. And so we can backfill right there, but again, feel really bad for Kike, and yeah.
Just Eric Lauer, what were you seeing from him today, and how pleased were you with just how he was able to navigate their lineup and get through 6 innings?
He did a really nice job. He's a major league pitcher and got off to a rough start in Toronto, but pitched really well last year. And then so to have him not pitch in 2 weeks and then come out and throw 6 innings and give us some length, give us a win, get us a win was big. And going into tomorrow, just feel good about where the bullpen's at.
How's Shohei's hand?
It's good. I think a little bit it got him on the hand or the pad, but I think it clipped his pinky a little bit. But I think we're in a good spot. And I think for me, I just wanted to, we had a good lead, get Dalton a couple at bats, and then get Shohei off his feet to get ready for tomorrow's start.
So he's still going to start tomorrow?
He is going to start tomorrow. I haven't decided yet if he's going to hit. I just want to kind of make sure how he comes in and physically how he feels, because want to make sure he feels really good, on the pitching side of things. I didn't find out till after I shook his hand after he scored on somebody's hit. Yeah.
It looked like you were.
So, what's that? Just really downtrodden, sad, disappointed, all that.
Did he get any treatment?
Shohei? No, I don't know. I don't think so.
Is there anything that you'll need to check with the hand tomorrow?
No, I think it grazed the hand. I think it hit more on the pad. But I know he was shaking his pinky, but I don't think we need x-rays. We didn't get x-rays. So I think he'll be good to go as far as the hand.
You look like a genius after Betts homered a couple times.
Yeah, no, it's just one of those things. You feel like you don't know what's going to happen with the results, but I just felt that the process and what I was seeing made sense to kind of give him a different look and feel good with Andy and the two and moving him up, and he certainly showed out tonight, which is good. So I was happy for both those guys. Certainly, for Mookie to have some success and swing the bat the way he did, I thought everyone was pretty happy with him.
What about for Will Smith, just as he continues to looks to get back on track?
I'm going to catch him 3 in a row. I think that I saw some things the last couple nights that I like. Offensively, I thought he did a great job catching both pitchers the last 2 nights. And then, and I think that there's a little bit of momentum, and it was good to see him hit a homer to the big part of the field. He hasn't done that in a while, so took a nice walk. So, I feel good about where Will's at, and hopefully we can continue that tomorrow.
Did Muncy come out of pregame well?
He did. Came out of it well. He'll be in the lineup tomorrow at third base. It was even good to see him willing to play third in that 9th inning to kind of save an inning from our bullpen. So that was telling. Made a play. So, I feel good about took BP, came out of it really well. Thank you. All right, good night, guys.
You have a big smile on your face. You had 3 hits today. 2 of them happened to be home runs. You crushed the ball. How good does it feel right now? Not only just being right here, picking up this win, but getting some positive results today.
It feels great just to help the boys. I mean, it's been a long time, but it is what it is. You know, these guys in here, I mean, I love them so much. They supported me, you know, through the ups and the downs, and it's been a lot of downs, but they've been right here every step of the way. Just keep patting me on the back, keep telling me to keep going, and we finally made it work.
Since coming off the IL, you've been looking to feel something. What do you think has been the biggest difference maker for you that led to those results today?
I mean, we went through a couple mechanical things, and I know it's easy to just say go play, but you know, there's also like a battle of trying to figure out where my body is. I've gained some weight. I mean, you know, I went from 160 pounds last year to 180 this year, so a lot has changed, and so really just trying to figure out where everything is at. And I think we may be all right.
And of course, we saw how this group came together, 17 hits, 15 runs. How do you describe just the offensive outbreak that you saw today?
I mean, I think this is something that we're very capable of. Obviously, you know, we would love to do it all the time. It's just part of the season, you know, ups and downs, but we played really well today, but we got to flush it and be ready for tomorrow.
And it started with Eric Lauer. What was he able to do to set the tone for this group? And how impressive was it to see him have his Dodger debut today?
Yeah, it's awesome. He's been on the other side for so long. You know, it's finally on our side, and we get to see how he goes about it. I mean, he's awesome in the clubhouse. He's a great dude, and you know, he showed his competitive nature on the mound, and he pitched awesome.
Mookie, remarkable performance on the plate tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You've been pretty honest about how the start of the season has gone for you and how you obviously would have liked for it to start much better, but being able to move down in the order and see a little bit more pitches, do you think that helped at all tonight?
No, I don't think that has anything to do with anything. I think it's just work. Just continue to put in work. It doesn't matter if I'm hitting 9th or 1st or whatever, it's the same work. And yeah, I'm pretty much just put it to that.
It seems like it's been a while that you hit a ball that hard. How did it feel just kind of watching the ball come off the bat like that the way it did in the first inning?
I don't even know how hard I hit it, so I mean, I hit a ball last week, you know, pretty good, so it hasn't been too long. I think the main thing is just consistently doing it, and I think we'll see. We'll see how tomorrow goes.
You look so exuberant on the first homer. Yeah, was it a load off? Were you feeling as you were running the bases a little bit?
Not as much with the home run as much as just I think the work worked, if that makes sense. So I think the work that we put in finally translated. Where the other days the work I put in didn't necessarily translate. So it was more of a excitement from that. Obviously, home run is exciting and whatnot, but I think it's just finally translated.
You know, you talked in spring training about last year and how during the course of last year you kind of learned how to separate the team stuff from the individual stuff. As you were kind of going through this year, how well were you able to kind of separate those two things?
I mean, that's still the same. That hasn't changed. My goal is to help the boys. I mean, in the game yesterday, you know, I actually got to lay down and go to sleep just because I had a sac fly. So those are the things that matter the most to me. And so, yeah, of course, I would love to, you know, go crazy, hit a bunch of homers and get a bunch of hits and whatnot. But if it's not winning ball games, then it doesn't really matter.
You know, Dave was saying yesterday that maybe, you know, you were kind of in a place where maybe a lot of the guys were a few weeks ago, where they were kind of more focused on the mechanics of the swing than just right. And you know, and because of that, it's kind of hard to just kind of compete. Do you feel that that's kind of an accurate assessment of where you were?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it was a mechanical thing. So that's exactly right. It was a mechanical thing, and I had to fix a mechanical thing, and I was able to fix it and finally translate into the game. It's a big difference.
Knowing that, Mookie, do you feel like it's, you know, not at all suggesting that everything is fixed, but much easier to go into the next game, like this work is starting to show up in the box score and it's easier to build on?
Yeah, it's definitely. I have a directive. I know exactly what I need to do every day. That doesn't mean it's going to translate into hits, but I know exactly how to train my body, train my mind and to let it translate on the field now.
Could you kind of explain what you were trying to work on, I guess, in a way that we might be able to kind of understand?
There's no way you guys would understand it, so we'll keep it in-house right now, and because things change, and it could be one thing today and tomorrow could be something different, so we'll see. We'll maybe have this conversation later on.
How much time were you spending back down there? I mean, was this kind of the typical, 400 swings a day type of thing, or?
It wasn't that much. It was just a little more. Still getting here early and trying to focus on things, but I think over time you just kind of focus on the wrong things, and that's why it wasn't translated. But I think we were able to focus on the right things and take a good amount of swings. It's no secret how much I'm here early. I'm not even spending as much time with my kids and my family as much as I really need to, especially going through this situation. But now I think I have a nice directive. I can at least enjoy some family time before I come to work.
In camp you talked about you expected to kind of get back to an MVP level offensively. Did that belief ever waver during this time?
No, I still have that expectation. It's just hard when you just are focusing on the wrong things. I think focus on the right things, and I don't think today was luck.
Thanks.
Keep going out for a week. Do you know something about that rehab? You saw what he had to do to get back here after this elbow surgery. Just what was your reaction?
Nothing. Obviously he knows I love him, and I want him here, but there's nothing I can do outside of just, he's not going to cry, so I'm not going to be a shoulder for him to cry on because he's not going to cry, but it sucks. It sucks. We saw what he came, as soon as he came, brought life to us, but we'll just see how the rehab and whatnot goes, and he'll be back.
Thank you.
Like a small tweak, and it felt tight, and compared to some of the things I've played through in the past, it was nothing, and it was a little more than nothing. So
you talked to Dave for a while in the dugout afterwards. Like, what was his message to you at the time?
He understood how frustrated I was, and he was trying to get me to keep my head up. Honestly, at that point, I was kind of not there, so I'm not necessarily sure everything that he said to me. He said that he was sorry that this happened to me, and I told him I was sorry too for, not being able to post and, just play the rest of the year. But it was kind of, sorry that this is happening, and keep your head up. It's gonna be okay. And I don't really have much other than we'll find out tomorrow how bad it is.
I know you need more information, but what do you see as the best and worst case scenario?
I have no idea, honestly. Like I said, I've never done an oblique. Probably at the minimum a couple of weeks. So I'm hoping that it's best case scenario. It's hopefully just a grade 1, and at least 2-3 weeks and I'm back, but who knows.
Do you feel the oblique only when swinging, or when you're doing other things as well?
Yeah, that's kind of why I thought I could play, because I only felt it when I was swinging, but then after the homer, I in between innings throwing to first, I was feeling it, and when I had the double, it didn't just hurt to swing, it also hurt to run, so I knew that it was time to stop.
I apologize that you already answered this, but it was something that you felt ahead of the game, and then the time felt a little bit worse. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I did it during batting practice yesterday, but first game back, did it during batting practice, so I was pretty embarrassed that I did that, and I didn't really tell anybody about it, because I just thought I was a small tweak, a little tightness, but today it felt more than that.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
That was a fun one to watch. It could have ended a little sooner for my taste. Just throw a regular arm out there, man. Come on. But no, it was good. Look, we got a performance from our guy 50. The 2-hole looks like it might be solved for now with our guy Andy there. Looks like Shohei's going to be okay with the hand thing. The only little downside here is we'll get into it, but our guy Kike batting 1,000, but maybe a while before we see him.
Yeah, unfortunate stuff there with the injuries to, Kike Hernandez with the oblique. We're going to get to that here in a little bit. Shohei Ohtani got popped on the hand by a changeup from Kyle Freeland. But we're going to welcome everybody in live exclusively on YouTube. We're going to be doing that going forward. So everybody prepare yourselves on that one. It's going to be a great way to get all the audience from Twitter that we have from Facebook, get everybody in the same spot so everybody can have really good conversation over here on YouTube all together. But yes, chat, it's really good to see you in here. I'm going to be looking through. I've got you here, everybody. Mr. Classic, Amanda, everybody, JY, what's good, guys? It's good to see all of you here. GI, everybody, it's good stuff. We've got a really good slate here tonight. The Dodgers with an exciting win. I'm very excited to talk about Mookie Betts, no doubt, but a 15-6 win over the Colorado Rockies for sure could have been a cleaner ending to it. Anthony, the floor is yours. Where to start, however you would like. Bury the lead a little bit, but encouraging things all around with the caveat that, yes, we know it was against Kyle Freeland, but sometimes you need those get-right games for some of the stuff. Take this however you want, man.
Yeah, I don't really care who it's against in these sorts of situations, especially for guys who might be struggling or guys who need to build, right? Like Eric Lauer, he faced the Rockies lineup and had put himself out there and gave himself something to build on. So that's a positive. I think for me, the biggest takeaway tonight was probably Mookie Betts looking like maybe he's starting to find something here. And look, I think he has been swinging the bat better. The results weren't really coming. And tonight, could be the start of maybe that turning around and positive regression starting to happen.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. But the other thing is the guy that he flipped with in the batting order, Andy Pages, just continuing to be absolutely red hot. All-star incoming.
Yeah, I'm going to let you keep cooking with that with Andy Pages, because what I love about Andy Pages tonight, it's just gets slid straight up there into the 2 slot, immediately goes 4 for 5, tallies 3 RBI on the night. OPS is at 882. And I know we were in our chat pregame, and it was that Andy Pages is someone that, can be a free swinger at times. That's kind of the old MO for him. He can still do it at times, Anthony, expand the zone, which is fine. You got to just teach this kiddos all the time. Sometimes you got to expand to swat something away to get to the pitch you want. But Andy Pages right now is punishing. He's punishing up there with anything remotely close to the zone. He's a confident guy. And for someone in the 2 slot right behind Shohei Ohtani, that's a spot where, yes, we've seen Mookie Betts in the past be a patient hitter up there, pass the buck. But with how teams are stacking themselves with, say, if it's the lefties up there, you've got Ohtani, and then if they do Kyle Tucker, then you get the lefty advantage. Now, with Andy Pages in the 2 and someone who's aggressive and with some pop consistent, I love the fact that you've got Ohtani. He's going to get put on. Andy Pages is going to go up there, say he gets first pitch. He's not afraid to do damage first pitch, and I think that's something that he's going to use to his advantage quite a lot.
Yeah, I'm with you. And in short term and small sample sizes, who hits behind a guy can matter. Long term, things kind of even out to where they should be. But short term, it could really mean something when a guy is as hot as Andy Pages is, and how teams approach then Shohei Ohtani. Now, for the most part, right, 8 times out of 10, they're going to go, I'm going to live with my guy facing a hot Andy Pages versus giving in to Shohei Ohtani. But those other 2 times, Shohei Ohtani is good enough that might be all that he needs, right? Like he's the closest thing now probably to him and Aaron Judge, to give Judge credit, but him, those 2 guys are the closest thing we've seen in a really long time to Barry Bonds, where like the guy might get 1 decent strike a game to put the barrel on, and he puts the barrel on it. Ohtani is good enough to be able to do that. And so, if you have a guy behind him who's struggling, there's no qualms about them just kind of pitching around him every time. And Ohtani, to his credit, has been good at being patient and just taking the walk, for whatever that might be worth. But with the way Pages is swinging the bat right now, I mean, he looks like he's playing slow pitch softball.
Yeah.
Like, he's just taking pitches all over the zone and finding the barrel. And he is just he's dangerous. He is dangerous. And I think when you go into a pitcher's meeting right now against this Dodger lineup, especially now with him hitting second, Andy Paz is going to be the second guy you look at, regardless of his batting position. Like it's Ohtani always, and then it's like also the guy right behind him is hitting the ball as well as anybody in baseball right now. We have to figure out a way to maneuver through those two guys, and it's difficult. It is incredibly difficult when the guy behind Ohtani is swinging the stick the way Andy Paz is swinging it.
Yeah, absolutely. David puts us up here. What's up, Scott and Python? Yeah, it's great to see you, David. Again, everybody, Super Chat's the best way to get a hold of us here. We're going to continue looking through everybody's chat. You know, I consistently read chat and put stuff up there that's relevant to the conversation and some drive starters, things to drive that conversation there. I would like chat right now to tell me their player of the game. I want to hear that. I know where mine's at, but I would really like to hear from everybody on who their player of the game is. You know, Dodgers rout the Colorado Rockies in a 15-6 win. They take this one, you know, at home. I had a couple buddies there. It was unfortunate I couldn't get out there. But Frackman says this here. The offensive train was loaded with a full load of coal. Tonight, barreling down the track. Nothing wrong with Bet's swing. Good night. Frackman, thank you for always supporting us here with that super chat. Yeah, I mean, there was against Cal Freeland, and I mean, I made my predictions, and I'll talk about my prize picks pick here in a little bit. Had a good night there. Came up a bit short, but had a really good night there. I understand what happens when you get a soft tossing lefty in there against the Dodgers offense that consistently can just barrel the baseball. I really want to talk about Eric Lauer. We're going to do that in just a few seconds here, but we can just take a look at this box score. And I mean, Shohei Ohtani wish he could have had some more run. He definitely would like some of those hangers back in the center cut part of the zone back, and he would have had himself a night as well. Andy Pajes, Freddie Freeman looking good. Mookie Betts, 5 RBIs on the night. Kyle Tucker, Teoscar Hernandez, Will Smith, 2 knocks in there. Miguel Rojas looks good. Kike Hernandez until the oblique. Who's the guy that stood out to you tonight in this 15-run route, man?
Yeah, I mean, I just talked about Pajes, so obviously he's a guy, but Mookie is obviously, you know, the 2 home runs. It looked like he thought he did not get all of the second one, but it got out. And you like he said before, like, you know, wall scrapers go over the fence too, man. You touch all 4 on those as well. So you know, good for him. I think that you look around though, and aside from those obvious guys, like, you know, Teoscar Hernandez continues to swing it pretty well. I thought it was a really nice anecdote too that they gave on the if anyone is watching the SNLA broadcast about how much Teo has contributed off the field with Andy Pajes' development, and especially when Andy Pajes was going poorly last season. You know, the sort of the mentorship and the leadership that Teoscar Hernandez showed with him in particular, I think goes to show you the sort of this culture matters. We say it, you know, often, and I think Dodger fans as a fan base sort of know that it's becoming a really important part of this organization. But, you know, look, there are people who thought Teo should be traded in the offseason, right? Like not just people we know, Scott. It was people on social media chiming in and saying, you know, get rid of this dude. Like, you know, he had 1 good season and now he's washed. And he's proving, 1, that he's not washed, and 2, that he's more valuable than just the line score says.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that anecdote. I love the little story. And it's just the Dodgers are praised for having veterans in a lineup. But there's also times where you say that, you know, it can hurt them based on the ebbs and the flows. But we talk about all the time, man, about I was just texting you right before stream, and it's always a conversation that I appreciate. Baseball for me is a game of stretches. That's why when you look at samples of 7, samples of 30, 60, however you want to do it, it's not that whatever fits your narrative. It's that guys can make a mechanical adjustment. Guys can make a mentality adjustment. There can be a game plan adjustment. There are different spots for hitters, pitchers, everybody. When things line up, that can be their best baseball. If things aren't clicking, we'll wait and see. With guys like Mookie Betts come into a game tonight, and we know that, yes, he's coming back, you know, from injury. It's got out that he was working with some mechanical things. They talked about that on the broadcast, hand positioning, You know, that Mookie Betts, he's a very rhythm hitter. He's got a beautiful setup. Mookie Betts has himself a night. And it was a perfect matchup for him against Kyle Freeland, who's not going to blow the baseball by you. You're able to settle in. You're able to find a little bit of a rhythm there. For a guy like Mookie Betts at this time of his career, he's proved it all. But he's wondering, how can I get back square? And we've had too many conversations, Ant, about people frustrated that Mookie Betts isn't at the prime of his career anymore. Well, he's still having to find his way back right, find his way back center. With guys like Andy Pages, their hot stretches can be a really long time. And when things are lining up and he's aggressive at the plate, you're able to see him anchor a lineup. And he's just out there swinging, not caring, going up there. He's caring, but he's just free swinging, man. He's up there just playing baseball. And that's what I love about this mix that they have. And you see guys like Teoscar Hernandez, like you just talked about, bleeding that onto Andy Pages. He can be an aggressive hitter, but he's got a lot up here, a lot in the tank, and a lot about how he's able to attack hitters. What are you looking at? What are you seeing? And they're spreading it around. So tonight was a really good night that encapsulated a lot of things for this team.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're seeing two examples of like what the patience with some of these guys can pay off. You know how it looks when it can pay off. In Andy Pages, who had stretches last season where he was bad, had the October struggles, comes back this season and is doing what he's doing. And the same with Mookie Betts. And you know, it's with him, it's really interesting that like it's almost like people would rather be right. Like talking about the Dodger fan base would rather be right in calling him done and finished versus seeing him like break out of slumps or like start to figure it out. Because, and not to call out anybody in particular, because we've seen this over the last couple of years. Anytime Mookie has had a slump, and as he's gotten older, he's gotten more streaky, right? Like you talk about how this is a game of stretches. Everybody is streaky in this sport. It's the nature of the beast. Some guys are able to limit their slumps, you know, better than other guys. Mookie is that ability is you know, fading a little bit with him with age, and that's understandable. Like he's on the other side of his prime, obviously. But like when he does struggle and then he starts to get out of it, it's almost like people can't wait to jump on and tell everybody who is like, yeah, you know what, good for Mookie. Maybe this is the start of something, or maybe he's breaking out, to say like, yeah, well, he's not that guy though. He's not that guy anymore. And it's like no one is saying that. I think nobody who watches this team consistently thinks Mookie Betts is that guy anymore. He's not ever going to win another MVP. I would put money on that, right? Like I think it's a pretty safe bet. However, he's a Gold Glove caliber shortstop, and thank you to our guy Daniel Starkin yesterday, who gave us an interesting stat that said over his last 1,800 or so plate appearances before tonight, the guy had an OPS plus approaching 120. Like he's not been as bad as people want to make him out to be. Now his stretches of badness have been prolonged, longer than they've probably ever been in his career. But he's been actually really good. Like if you're not holding him to the standard of, are you winning MVPs? Because he's not that guy anymore. And I think the people's inability to adjust their expectations of a guy like Mookie Betts, like that's on you, bro. That's on you. Like we've all come to, I think, understand like this guy's on the other side of that prime. How productive of an offensive player can he be? And you put a season together where you have an OPS plus WRC plus of 115 to 120, depending on the field. You got a shot at an all-star bid, right? Like, you know, and you know, maybe if you're not at a loaded position, you know, that shot is realistic, but like that's a really good player considering what he's turned himself into defensively in the infield too.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to put this, Matt Moreno just popped into our private spot here and let us know about a couple updates here. We'll just go straight into this one. Kike Hernandez and Shohei Ohtani were removed from tonight's game. Kike Hernandez was pulled from the game with an oblique. That was let me see, his right oblique. I think that was correct. Or his left oblique, Anthony. I'm not sure. Just an oblique injury there. Left oblique strain. So the Dodgers announced that Kike Hernandez was pulled due to a left oblique strain. Shohei Ohtani was removed from the game after getting hit by a changeup from Kyle Freeland. on his right hand. So that was the precautionary move with Shohei Ohtani. In regard to Kike Hernandez, Kike said he initially tweaked his left oblique during batting practice yesterday and, quote, he thought he could play through it. On the home run swing tonight, he was full of pain, and then he felt it when swinging and rounding the bases on the double. So Kike Hernandez, Anthony, that one is pretty concerning. That one, when you feel it in BP and you think you can play through it, fresh off coming back from another rehab stint, I'm not a fan of that. I think that's him feeling the adrenaline and saying, maybe this is just some cobwebs. Maybe this is just got to get my body moving, seeing how it goes. That is a frustrating thing for me to hear as a fan of Kike and understanding what he can do and how he's come back with a charge. And what do you make of those quotes, from Kike Hernandez about that oblique?
Yeah, that's tough, man. Understanding that, he heard it yesterday, played, was I guess fine for the most part,
Yeah.
and then was obviously still feeling it again tonight. It's easy to say like, oh, we should have rested him for the rest of this series and see how he comes out on the other side. But if he's like, yeah, you know what, I felt it, but it feels like it's not a big deal, and then he puts those swings on the ball still that he was putting on him, puts the swings on the ball that he put on last night too after he initially tweaked it. Hindsight is always 20/20, but
Yeah.
I guess I would say I'm fine with them playing him if that's what all the the Dodgers aren't going to send guys out there to get hurt or send guys out there hurt like that, if they think it's serious. But got to be frustrating for him. I think you saw that in the dugout too when Doc was
sitting with Dave.
Like,
yeah,
you could see just like the disappointment and the frustration on the guy's face. Like it's hard not to feel for a guy like that who has waited so long to come back this season, contribute, starts off as hot as he has, 4 for 4 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then realizes like he's going to be back on the shelf for a while.
Yeah, it's Anthony's referencing Kike Hernandez sitting in the dugout with Dave Roberts after them. I guarantee they had a line of communication. Skip, this is something I'm feeling after BP. Dave, they know a lot of this stuff. It's a matter of how much can you push it, and then when it comes to a head, then they'll be like, okay, this is how we evaluate it. That type of conversation, Anthony, is one with a veteran player and how much Dave and Kike have been through together, and how much they confide in each other, and knowing the story of Kike Hernandez and Andrew Friedman being on FaceTime with Kike's doctor and stuff with the elbow. Now you have the oblique. Who knows how long this is going to keep him on the shelf for? Shit, man. I mean, it's a frustrating one for me just because you see the type of juice that he brings to the clubhouse. We talked about that a few weeks ago, Anthony, when things weren't so good, when they weren't feeling good, the vibes were off with this team. And Kike Hernandez undoubtedly brings vibes just from being there. And that is what aside from the performance, getting regular season stuff from Kike is cherry on top of what we all know he can do. It's a lot of his overall, his presence is what I hope he sticks and hangs around with the team, does not go anywhere. I'll miss him on the field, no doubt. But I don't like the fact that it was something he felt yesterday, and it's unfortunate that it just didn't go away. It wasn't a blip on the radar. It's his presence in the dugout, in the clubhouse, and what he does for these other players, these other guys. So that's where I'm stuck on that tonight with Kike Hernandez.
Yeah, and when a guy like that with that sort of presence and a guy who's respected the way he is in the clubhouse and who has had like poor regular seasons, like we understand that, but he's there for other reasons too.
Yeah.
And part of those struggles, like were, the injury last year and the eye stuff the year before and all of that, right?
Sure.
Like there's some reasoning behind it. But when a guy like that works his way back, starts off the way he does, and then has to take another hit like this, like that's a little deflating for a clubhouse as well. Like, because it's a guy that they all root for, right?
Yes.
And when you get that kind of news, it's just like, oh my goodness. Like you feel for the guy in the clubhouse. Like I'm sure there's good vibes in the clubhouse tonight. He scored 15 runs. Mookie hit 2 homers. Pies did what he did. Right? Like there's probably good vibes in there. Lauer did what he did in his debut. But there's probably also a sense of just like, okay, we got to be level-headed here. Like we just lost one of our guys again. And then it's a tough feeling. Like I've been a reporter in clubhouses where the result of the game might be good, but something else not so good happened, and it can be, the air can get let out of a room like that real quick. So I'm sure that's what it is. It's going to be tough, but they'll move on and wait for Kike to come back. Hopefully this is a mild thing. Hopefully he's back, relatively quickly. You just feel for a guy when he's worked so hard to come back.
I was just going to ask you about, instances like this, because that's why I've appreciated how, like, you being directly in clubhouses with this. When a player like Kike Hernandez goes down and he won't be on the field for, we'll just say this, for a undetermined amount of time, but it's going to be a decent absence.
Yeah.
How do you feel that air in the clubhouse? What does that feel? What is that like when you step into the clubhouse with that player who Kike Hernandez right now is very disappointed vocally, understandably? How does that feel when you're a reporter in the clubhouse, talking to these guys? What does that feel like?
Yeah, I think like it's a vibe, right? Like typically after a game like this, where you have a position player, close it out because you're blowing a team out so poorly, and a bunch of guys have had good days at the plate. You get a guy like Lauer, like I said, who makes his Dodger debut and goes 6 innings, allows 1 run. So many positives to build on, but understanding what happens to one of your clubhouse leaders like that, and that he's going to be down for a while. You walk into a clubhouse like that and you feel that, like, the music might not be playing, right? Like the chatter might be, to a minimum. It can sort of take its toll on that clubhouse for a night after a game like this, even. So, and especially I think when you see, to J.Y. Kim's point there, when you see him look dejected like that in the dugout, that's going to penetrate. And guys are going to feel that, right? Like I can promise you there were guys who went in after that last out was recorded, and the first thing they did was find somebody who could give them news on what Kike was feeling. And
guaranteed.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's on their minds for sure. Even after a night where a result is like this, and you start to interview guys, and like I'm not surprised if they went and talked to, like, let's say, Paez, and his voice is like he has almost a somber tone, even talking about the positive that happened tonight, because they understand what it is, and these guys all understand the grind. And so when you watch a guy, like they've been watching Kike get himself back, and then to have it last a game and a half, and now he's back on the shelf, like they feel that deep because they know what it's like to go through those things.
Yeah, this is Kike Hernandez, just his second game back after being reinstated from the 60-day IL after recovering from that off-season elbow surgery on his left elbow there, the one that kind of plagued him all year. He said that one stuck with him for a good bit all the way through the season. And, from what we know in those conversations, was a tough injury to play through, one where you say, how the hell do you play through that type of thing? Per his doctor, one of the worst elbow injuries he's seen of that kind. So it's unfortunate. I don't like to see stuff like this. As always, hope he gets better soon. The Dodgers are a better franchise. They're a better franchise when Kike Hernandez is on the field, when his joy that he brings to the game is on the field and in the Dodgers clubhouse. So I hope he sticks around there. I hope that this doesn't, linger for too long, and he's able to return, when he does. Yeah.
Yeah. And some more interesting quotes from Kike here. He said he was embarrassed yesterday, but thought he could get through it. He says, I feel pretty defeated right now, and hopefully we get some good news tomorrow. This one's also interesting. And this is, I think, the sign of a clubhouse leader and of a guy who has been rehabbing this, the elbow situation around the team. He's been there. He's been sitting in the dugout, right? He's been doing all that, because this quote here from him is telling, I think. He says this is from Katie Wu, The Athletic. She puts out a tweet that says, it's frustrating to say the least. This is Kike. Not just because I missed time, but me coming back got somebody off the roster, and I was only able to give the team 4 at-bats. Like, whether you thought Espinal was going to help this team long-term, short-term, whatever, it doesn't matter. the point that I was making with Kike being around the team is they all, Espinal was part of this roster. He was part of this team. And Kike coming back watched one of their guys have to go away, and now he's gone and Kike's hurt again. And like there's a spectrum of emotions that a guy is going to go through when it's a situation like this. It's very specific, right? Like a long rehab, comes back. It means someone else loses their job, and then he gets hurt again, and like almost immediately. And there's just that, like I said, that deflated feeling for that player, for his teammates, and it's telling, I think, to say who the kind of leader that Kike is when he references that Espinal got the boot because he came back and now he only lasted 4 at-bats.
Yeah, I agree with you there. That's the part. That's a veteran, man. That's a veteran. Absolutely a thing like that. Guys think about that type of stuff. To exactly your point.
And that's why
who you are, you're on. Yeah, that's why he's respected. Exactly. No matter who you are on the roster, you are a piece to the puzzle. You talk with these guys. Fans see players as skill level, and that's what they see players as. A lot, like I would say a good 95% of the time. They see players as, are they a star? Who are they? What do they look like in the stat sheet? But what goes on in the clubhouse and what these guys mean to each other, stuff all matters. That's the reason why you see some of these players on the field and they're buddies. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how they're performing. They're boys at the end of the day, a lot of them. But like guys like Espinal, I know I said, like, you're going to find people with performative outrage about him getting DFA'd off the roster. It's just from a skill level, that's a different conversation. But as far as who he means, like to some of these guys in the clubhouse and to the puzzle, he's one of those guys. He's one of the pieces. So it's interesting who's going to fill that void there. I know Fabian Ardaya, our guy, friend of the show, had there. I know somebody had the comment earlier about Alex Freeland being on the way from OKC already, perhaps to replace Haesung Kim. But TQT, I'll put that up in a sec. But that with Alex Freeland, that's already someone who can go supplement it. We saw Max Muncy appear late in the game, which is a plus. Anthony, I want you to get your thoughts on Max Muncy and him having the, avoiding a bigger injury than he could have. But yeah, and I mean, I think about the player a lot. I think about the person more. That's what I think about when I look at some of these guys. I read a lot of the stories. It's just, I think that's the reporter in us and both of us and what we've done at each of our stops, that you read between the lines of a lot of these quotes. So Kike Hernandez pointing out that he felt embarrassed because it cost a guy potentially his job. That's another big part to the story here. TQT says this real quick. Someone needs to toggle the injuries option off. Please. Yeah, please do that. We didn't even talk Shohei Ohtani yet. Let's get a quick thoughts with Shohei Ohtani getting hit by a changeup from left-hander Kyle Freeland of the Colorado Rockies there. And I would say the Dodgers pretty much just playing a very precautionary tale and pulling him from the game there because he's starting tomorrow.
Yeah, he probably gets pulled from that game, whether he gets hit in the hand or not, given the score, given that he's on the bump tomorrow. But yeah, I think the fact that they didn't take him out right away was like, I think they all understood that, okay, he's okay, which is great. That's great news. Obviously, that we can say what Eric Karros wanted to say on the air, that big ass pad he has on his hand probably saved him from injury there. So,
everybody should have that.
Shout out to New Balance for making that thing as big as they did. So it seems like Ohtani's going to be okay, which is good news. The thing I want to ask you about here is backtracking just a little bit. The last time we saw Alex Freeland, it was not pretty. In the big leagues. He has been pretty decent, pretty good back with OKC. Sounds like he's coming back up now for Kike. What are your thoughts there?
With Alex Freeland, I mean, look, we saw a little bit right beforehand. We praised the at-bat quality, and it was good at-bat quality is a thing that we can talk about all day long. That if a guy goes up there, you work a count, you work an AB, and I'm always going to applaud you for it. But at a certain point, rubber's got to meet the road, and those got to be spots have to happen, and results have to happen. You know, we're talking a 646 OPS from Alex Freeland prior to him getting sent down. That's a 98 at-bat sample size. So a solid sample size, Anthony. I mean, switch hitter. So, but we talked about Ha-Seong Kim and Alex Freeland being two guys operating on different lines. And when I interviewed Alex Friedman, the OKC announcer, we talked about Alex Freeland being down there. He said he had only been down there a few days. But when I look at a guy like Alex Freeland who broke camp, you know, big league club, like we're talking, he's been with the team, goes down there. He's been performing well with the AAA club. I wonder how that type of ice bucket, when you get, so you're saying, I'm feeling good. I feel like things are improving. We can see it. They've definitely the Dodgers front office has an affinity for Alex Freeland, and we understand why. And Amanda says Freeland's been a little bit underwhelming, and that's understandable when you just look at base stats and stuff. But his last game, he went 2 for 3, double and a homer, or excuse me, I'm looking at the wrong side of the thing. But Alex Freeland has been, I would say, pretty solid with AAA. The fact that he's on his way right back up to the big club says he was just the next guy to go. He was the next guy. The second the Dodgers need something, bring him up. Whether it's insurance possibly for Max Muncy, Ha-Seong Kim, they just want to shift this. Mookie Betts is feeling better. They're saying it's Alex Freeland's time. We like what he had at second base, provides a little bit more pop, versatility, whatever it is. I'm excited to see him in another stint. That's just it. If I can give you a short answer to what I just said, it's I'm excited to see him in another stint after getting sent down, because you know that type of stuff sucks. When you feel like you deserve the spot and you feel like I want to stick around. So hopefully that kind of kicks him into another gear here where those got to be counts, those got to be swings start resulting in some hits.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, that was his second extended run with the Dodgers in the big leagues, and he's yet to make any adjustments to the big league pitching. I'm guessing he's going to get a decent runway here if he is the guy who gets called up. I don't think they'd be calling him up to sit, which brings up another question, because it feels like him and Kim are then kind of redundant. They do the same things for the most part.
I put that up here, and we'll put that back up.
And so that's a different line of thinking here. But, you know, where I was going with that is that if he struggles again, I'm not sure where you go with him from a big league standpoint. Like maybe at that point you start to say, okay, the next time you are up, maybe it's not to play every day. Maybe it is to be that guy off the bench. You know, because it's not that he doesn't have talent, but you can only do so much if you can't make the adjustment at the next level.
You're only a switch hitter if you've got some, you know, proficiency against each side. Like we're talking against lefties, they definitely didn't trust, like GI just said up here. I just got some of my headphones. Sorry about that. But against lefties, they didn't give him almost any run. Like we're talking 481 OPS against lefties. Against righties, when you have Ha-Seong Kim up there, they're facing the both-handedness. So when Mookie Betts wasn't there, you were seeing the both of them play the field, or Miguel Rojas, and sliding that mix around. To what GI said and what you just pointed out, that unless it's against, you know, righties, where does Ha-Seong Kim fit in the mix? But it's just they need that guy against.
You also got to play Miguel Rojas still.
Yes, yeah, they've got to cycle this around. So it's like, is that the guy you want off the bench? How many times are you coming off the bench? I understand that, but yeah, do you want him off the bench in those short stints, or is he better suited for AAA right now, getting those everyday at bats? Is he injury insurance? I think that's a lot of what it is, because it's like he already had 100 at bats in the big leagues. Max Muncy's, you got to figure out how much is he going to go here. Kike Hernandez just went down. This opened up a door for him. So he's just the next man up.
And the thing for me with him and Kim is that they do essentially the same things, except for Kim offers the skill that doesn't go into slumps, which is his speed.
Yeah.
And I think for this club, I would rather see, like, if you're gonna say, okay, Tommy Edman's back, let's just say, we're probably about 3 weeks or so away from that happening. If he's back and you're gonna say, okay, one of you guys is gonna stay up, I would rather it just be Kim, assuming all things are equal offensively, like assuming they're both bad, because at least he gives you that element that you can use when you need it late in games or something like that. And also in a pinch, maybe you can toss Kim out in the outfield if you need to. But yeah, I mean, if neither of those guys is gonna produce offensively and win that job outright in that way, then give me the guy who has the one extra attribute.